So let's start. What is cross-hatching? What do you got?
Isn't it darkening things by drawing lines?
Yeah, so normally we shade like this, right? But with cross-hatching, instead of doing that, we're doing lines. When would this be super? Can you guys see that at all? Can somebody close the back windows? Yeah, just like, oh, you pull here, I'm gonna do that. So when would it be helpful? What is it most helpful for? Go ahead. Comic books, why? It's a simple form of shading. Then you can use black to shade. You don't have to have 12 different colors. It's cheaper to print. You guys didn't know that, did you?
Isn't that also why they do like the dots?
Yep, the dots are also cheaper to print than full color because it's less ink. Okay, so it seems like we're using Word a lot, and mine is printing. Is this easier now? Is that easier to see? Much better? Okay, so cross-hatching is mainly used in printing, but it's now also used as just a stylistic choice. And I really like the look of it, so we're gonna go with that. Okay, so hatching and cross-hatching are like twins, okay? They're different, but they technically are very, very much the same, right? So we're gonna start by drawing 2 boxes with 4 squares in those boxes. We're gonna go dark to light. This is gonna be hatching. This is gonna be cross-hatching. There is a ruler in the bottom corner. I'm gonna switch over to a pen because that's when cross-hatching and hatching are used the most, is with pen and ink and printing, and not so much with pencil, because pencil you can gradate the pressure, and with pens, especially felt tip pens, it's much harder to do varying pressure. Ballpoint pens, you could sometimes get away with it. That's why they're my favorite. So with this pen, whenever I put a line, even if I barely touch the paper, oh, come on, it's still gonna be really dark versus when I press. They're both pretty similar. So if I tried to shade with them, it'd be difficult. So what we're gonna do is we're going to start with dark over here. What do you guys notice about the dark square? Has a lot of lines really close to each other. And then as we move lighter, the lines are going to get farther and farther away from each other. You can also do this by varying the size of your lines. If you have lots of really thin lines, it's going to look a little bit lighter than if you have lots of really dark, thick lines. Let's go ahead and fill out all 4 boxes. If we're hatching, oh, sorry, I keep moving ahead without pausing and letting you guys do your work. Okay, if we're to use hatching in a sphere, just like we did the other class where we did the circles, what's the area closest to the light called? What was it? Highlight. So are we going to put any lines in the highlight? Cover your nose, please. Thank you. Are you going to put any lines in the highlight? Probably not. The only time we'd put lines in the highlight is if the highlight wasn't white. If it was like a purple sphere or a red sphere, we might put a couple lines in there because it's not white. But if it's a white sphere, then we're going to leave it blank. So then we're going to, instead of shading, like we did with the other spheres yesterday, we're going to put lines. So that becomes what? What did we just start there? Do you guys remember the vocab for it? We have our highlight, then what was it? It started to shade. What's that called? Mid-tone. Perfect. So we have our highlight, which is our light spot, our mid-tone where it's starting to get darker. Who can tell me what the next part is supposed to be? Ooh. Highlight, mid-tone, core shadow. Oh, you get brownie points. Here you go. Okay, core shadow. So in order to create the core shadow, we have to darken it, which means doing what?
More lines.
More lines. Thank you. Now I'm not going to take those lines all the way to the edge. Why wouldn't I take those lines all the way to the edge?
Because they reflect.
Reflective light. And then, what's this part on the ground? Oh wait, sorry, I'm running too fast. Okay. Highlight, mid-tone, core shadow, reflected light. Yes. Cast. Cast shadow. Perfect. So cast shadow, I'm going to use one of my darker shades by putting more lines in because it should be darker than the mid-tone or reflective light, depending upon what it's. So this is how artists shade with pens, is hatching. And the other way we can shade is called cross-hatching. So I'll show you what that looks like right now. I just use cross-hatching and hatching together. Can you tell me what cross-hatching is? What is it?
Going like the opposite way.
Yeah, so it's hatching but crossing, right? Cross-hatching. Most of you have seen this somewhere, right? So I want you guys to go ahead and create dark to light boxes. Here's how I usually do it. I'll have an up to down. Have you guys seen, what's it called? Big Hero 6?
Yes.
Where he's like, I wear my underwear front, then I wear it back, then I wear it inside out, front, back, right? Do you guys remember that scene? So we wear it front, we wear it back, we wear it inside out, front, back. So these are the angles of the darkest. So if we keep our lines really close together, and then we go the other angle, and then we go up, and then we go sideways. And if you wanted to, you could do some other angle in there as well, but that gives us a pretty dark square. Then if we put a little bit more space between our lines and do the same thing, we got a varying values. Okay, so can you guys hear me? No. Now can you hear me? Okay. So this is the most common issue that I see with cross-hatching and hatching is that, and this is not just one student, by the way, because I know some people feel like I'm going to call them out. It's multiple students. So instead of doing lines, students will do this. Okay. Now let me show you what that looks like on a sphere.
Looks like scribbles.
Yes, because that's what it is. If we compare these two, which one looks better? Top one. So this is why I ask you to avoid the squiggly thing, even though it's faster. So this concept is putting ink closer together makes things darker. Putting it farther away makes things lighter, right? Pretty simple concept. So this can work with dots. This is called pointillism. If you do it with dots, let me show you that. You don't have to do the dots one. That one's called pointillism, and it is the devil, and I'll probably make you do at least one piece with pointillism. It's always my favorite because everybody's like, and they just stare at me all day tapping. They're like, I hate you. But it's always their best piece too. They're like, it looks so good, but I hate you, but it looks so good. Okay, the other way we could do this is, let's say you really like the scribbling. This is called scrumbling, which is basically scribbles, but little tiny circles so you can control it. Do you guys get the idea, the concept? Okay. If you choose to use any of these in our next project, I'm fine with it. I don't care which method you use. I also don't care if you do it on the tablet or on paper. Some people prefer to have the control of a pen because you've used it for so long that you're just used to it. But let's go ahead and do a demo. So go ahead and real quick save this, export it, and turn it on Canvas, and then we'll do a demo together.
What is this assignment called?
Cross-hatching. It's like hatching and cross-hatching on campus.